It's a special Friday night for the Porsche's Owners Club, except they won't be in any Porsches. Instead, they're going to be fighting it out in NASCAR cars from 1987. Yeah, Ford Thunderbird or Chevy Monte Carlo is already a handful enough, but then go ahead and put it on Watkins Glen. And you know what? While we're at it, let's just pop open 4 cold ones. Yeah, that's what we're doing tonight. It's the Fireball 500 here. The race of the drunken... I mean, come on. The tagline says it all, guys. We are going to have some fun on this Friday night here on GSRC, the Global SimRacing Channel, live here. We're just glad to have you along for what we are anticipating is going to be a wild ride. I'm Devin Henry inside the virtual booth alongside Chris Phoebe, and behind the scenes is our director, Joe Peak, using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Well, before we go into the exact rules and race details for this ridiculous race tonight, let's take a look how to get around Watkins Glen and how these guys are going to have to fare in some of these very loose, very monstrous 1987 machines.
Welcome to Watkins Glen International. Situated in upstate New York, just south of the Finger Lakes, this track has seen it all. Few road circuits can boast hosting Formula One, IndyCar, NASCAR, and IMSA during its history. Though it did have a brief fallow period in the early 80s, thanks to the investment of local companies, it's grown into one of the premier road tracks in the U.S. With 4 layouts to choose from that range between 2.5 and 3.5 miles in length, lap times can vary greatly. But it also means it's suitable for lots of different levels of racing, from amateur to pro. The one thing that stays consistent no matter which car and which layout you're using is that Watkins Glen means speed. Many of the straights are very long, and the majority of the corners are fast sweepers. Some of them include a surprising amount of banking as well. Combine that with the proximity of the barriers, and this historic circuit retains a very old-school feel. Drivers in lesser-powered cars can expect drafting battles, while higher-powered machinery will test the skill and bravery of their pilots. Some of the turns are visually iconic, such as the carousel and the S's. Others, like the inner loop, the chute, and turn 9, greatly challenge even the expertly skilled. And of course, we haven't even mentioned the drastic amount of elevation change drivers experience. Between its rich history and popularity among drivers, this track stays busy and seems likely to be that way for a long, long time.
So you got to see a look here at this track, and now we get to take a look at these marvelous old classic machines riding around this wild track. We are on the classic configuration here tonight. But Chris, why don't you take us through a little bit more of what we're going to be seeing tonight?
Well, this is a little bit different than the Watkins Glen we may be familiar with from NASCAR racing. There's no inner loop, so as you can see as they head down that back straightaway, these guys are going to be hauling the mail into that quick left-hander there at the end of the straightaway. There's going to be a lot of passing opportunities around this track, as we're kind of used to with Watkins Glen, but we have these big old stock cars that we're going to be wrestling around this track. They're a handful on an oval, and it's going to be great to see what they're like on a traditional road course here at Watkins Glen.
Now, I've taken these cars for a ride around this track. I mean, it's a handful on its own, and I never thought I'd be saying this on air, but my next phrase is, it's a handful on its own even when sober, which some of these drivers might not be when we're done. So let's take a look at our rules here. So it's fairly simple. Between the green flag and the checkered flag, you have to have drank 4 12-ounce alcoholic beverages. Now, for those of you guys who are not into drinking, it's simpler. It's just 3 stop and goes. But I think some of these guys might be having a little bit more fun. Now, these are also fixed setup cars, so they don't got to worry about changing anything mid-race or anything funny like that. It's all fixed setups on these 1987 cars. But what's going to be the difference maker, I think, here, Chris, is that there is no drinking and driving allowed. So when you drink your 4 alcoholic beverages, you must be stopped, a complete halt, off the track, and then drink it, and then get back up to speed. I think knowing exactly where you're going to be to stop is going to be the big difference maker here tonight.
Yeah. Correct placement of the car when you pull off to enjoy those adult beverages is going to be crucial. And also, again, I can't believe I'm saying this on the air, your ability to chug is going to be essential.
Do you enjoy it, or do you try to race for the win? As we watch BJ Fulton right now, or excuse me, Brad Kelter in qualifying right now, do also need to mention, in no way are we trying to promote drinking and driving. Guys, don't do that. When you do that, it puts yourself in danger, puts others in danger, it risks your life and your family's life. Do not drink and drive tonight, though. We're just having a little bit of fun on a platform that is just a ton of fun on its own, and these guys want to go out, have a fun Friday night on what iRacing has provided the users here with these fun 1987 cars. And of course, we wouldn't be able to do this without all the sponsors here who allow the Porsche Owners Club to go on with their regular season. But of course, we got to give a big thanks to Sunset Mortgage. Don't put your money in the bank, be the bank. Check them out today at sunsetcash.net. And tonight, more than ever, we are powered by Octavio Tequila. Celebrate now, we're in the middle of a race. For a great tasting tequila, go to octaviotequila.com and purchase today for your own Watkins Glen race. And of course, Century Financial Consultants, making the rest of your life the best of your life. You can check out their website at centuryretire.com. And boy, you can see already how sideways Kelter here is just getting on his own. So what do you think, Chris, is going to be the priority here when it comes to just driving on the track? If you were sober, what's the most difficult part of this track? Is it just getting slowed down after that long straightaway?
Yeah, I think the braking points are going to be most crucial on this track, Devin. You're carrying a lot of speed with these big, heavy cars that don't have the greatest technology when it comes to braking versus what some of these drivers may be used to. An 87 Monte Carlo or Thunderbird is definitely not a Porsche.
So as we watch qualifying here, it's a little bit forgiving. You will have 3 laps here over this 10 minutes, and we just had our first driver complete a lap. Justin Krickenberger clocks in at a 112.78. He is our first driver to get by the board, but we do have 3 laps here. We've already had a number of drivers ruin their first lap, or at least their get to speed lap, and have had to tow back. But 10 minutes here to get your lap in, so it gives you plenty of time. Now, there is no drinking involved yet. There's no beverages involved yet. That comes after the initial green flag. And that brings up another strategy point. Do you want to try to get those 4 beverages in towards the start of the race or towards the end of the race? Because we all know how in a race like this with a lot of drivers, you know, do you want to put yourself behind time-wise, or do you want to put yourself behind car-wise?
Now, see, for somebody like me, I would want to space them out, try to do it as evenly as I can during the race, because I don't want to get a tummy ache. But for maybe some of the more experienced drinkers in the field, it may not be a bad idea to get it knocked out of the way early, so then you have some time to put some laps in and maybe even catch a lead and build up a gap before the drink grabs you.
And for those of you who are concerned, will the drink grab them? Well, this is a 1-hour race, so I don't know if it matters necessarily. Well, it does matter who you are. I know some pretty confident drinkers, but it can make a difference here as we see, whoo, boy, Nielsen Laursen's locking up that right front. But an hour race, I mean, you're going to have some issues eventually.
And the aspect we have not touched on yet, what about a bathroom break? Once you get drinking and you break that seal, it could be trouble.
1-hour race. You got to be able to concentrate for 1 hour as we watch the Chick Hicks Dynaco machine and Michael Bolton running around this track here. Yeah, that's another great point. So what if, I mean, this is an hour-long race, and you are going to drink at least 48 ounces if you are not diluting any water in there or something like that. I mean, if you can keep hydrated based off of alcohol alone, that's one thing, I guess. So, yeah, a 1-hour race. I mean, it's hard for me, once again, something that I never thought I'd say on a broadcast. It's hard for me sober to go an hour without needing a bathroom break. Forget adding 48 ounces to that. And maybe that's an advantage where some of these non-drinkers who will have 3 stop and goes, I think they'll probably be at a disadvantage time-wise, but potty-wise, I think they'll be a little better.
Yeah, I have a 3-year-old at home that I'm currently in the process of potty training, and let me tell you, timing those bathroom breaks is crucial. You do not want to ruin your expensive gaming chair because you couldn't make it to the potty.
Hey, but a win would be all worth it. As far as I know, you don't get anything, but you get to say you did it.
And we didn't even factor in the adult diaper factor either, Devin. I mean, these guys
oh my goodness,
could have something to depend on, if you know what I mean.
Director Joe Peak also asked the potential of a lemon lime Gatorade bottle possibly sitting next to you as well. So, yeah, many different strategies here. For those of you 18 and younger tuning in, this broadcast may not be for you apparently, as we go through some of the strategies here in the Fireball 500 here with the Porsche's Owners Club. Remember, they race every other Monday here on GSRC. Their next race will actually be here at Watkins Glen, but they will actually be using the boot. So, in a way, this is a first look for next week's race? Question mark on that with first of all, the blood alcohol level. Second of all, just how difficult these cars are to drive. There is nothing keeping these four wheels on the track. You're going to lift up that right front sometimes, too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've seen one driver that we've had on screen so far that has not tremendously locked up their tires going into one of the high braking points on this track. I mean, that's going to be another factor, is just keeping tires on these cars, because they are just wearing them going into these corners.
And the brakes on these machines are just utter trash when you consider almost any other vehicle. I mean, the Dirt Street Stocks brakes are more efficient than these Monte Carlo and Thunderbird brakes here. So, and that's something that you're going to use a lot here as we watch Michael Robin get sideways here in the corner. 5 corners, it's not a ton compared to, say, the class, or to say the boot setup or the cup setup, but still, these are very heavy corners, especially turn 1. That is a high braking corner.
Yeah, and like we've shown with all the lockups, and I mean, gosh, these cars are just it's gonna be fun, don't get me wrong, but as far as just a pure technical driving experience, these cars are a lot of work. And that's sober.
Yeah, you got to be a wheelman to keep these things under control. Nielsen Lawrence right now leading the way. And looks like Stad here will just go play in the sandpit for a little bit here. And once again, that comes down to braking, which is just so difficult in these machines. They had a 1 hour and 50-minute practice session, but still, I mean, I'd have to imagine even if you were at that entire session, it's still difficult to drive.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, all the practice in the world really can teach you what you think you need to do, but these cars are a wee bit on the unpredictable side. And like I said, with the braking response is going to be a huge challenge. And you think Coors is like the most fitting sponsorship for this race?
Oh, absolutely, because you don't even need to go into trading paints, right? It's already there for you. So I'm interested to see. We saw a Busch car. Who else? I thought I saw someone else. We'll see what other alcohol-related vehicles we have. We do have the Alan Kwiecki Hooters car out there, which, I mean, I would say close enough. It's not an alcoholic beverage itself, but, I mean, come on. It's a little close there, but still. Yeah, I'm interested to see the different kind of alcohol we have here as we watch along with Alan's dad completing another lap as he has the 17 car running around the car.
Let me say this. Say this, Devin. If you've never been drunk on a buy one get one free wing night at a Hooters, then I don't think you're an American.
And that's why the Kwiecki paint scheme, it just works. It just works in this race.
It's like it was destiny.
And who doesn't want to drive like Alan Kwiecki, for crying out loud? A Cup champion, and he had some phenomenal success. And I absolutely love the Kwiecki tributes, as his Polish victory lap at Phoenix is one of my favorite moments in my home track's history. So as we continue to wind down qualifying, we will have our final minutes to start your lap. These laps right now, this is kind of the shorter of the configurations, and we're looking at a best lap of a 1 minute 12.3 second lap, or 12.1 second lap, excuse me. So there's still plenty going on here for these drivers to figure out. These are going to be very long laps that we have here.
That is true, especially with these cars. And Devin, I think we're getting ready to head to our grid.
Well, this will be fun. Producer Joe Peak, is this a first? A drinking race? Before I say something, I want to know, is this a first? So a first here on GSRC, Porsche Owners Club with the Fireball 500. This is how your starting grid looks. Nielsen Lawrence qualifies on pole. In the 302, Justin Krickenberger will start off in second. Robert Stout will be inside row number 2 with Bryce Kluwer in 4th. Eric Oviatt will start things off in 5th. Savek Fagarian will start off in 6th. Matt Hollander inside row 4. Michael Bolton in 8th. BJ Fulton in 9th. And Brad Kettler in 10th.
Just outside of the top 10 is Michael Robin in the 11th position with Benjamin Nelson in 12th. Peter Ladier in the 14th position, followed by John Vomier in 14th. Alan Stad will be 15th on the grid with Nico Silva, Joe Wenderholt, and Alan Stad completing the field.
And Alan Stad just put it into the group chat. This is going to be rough. I don't doubt it one bit. This is going to be quite the endurance race. I think it might even be more of an endurance race than the season finale at Auto Club last year. So as everyone comes around here, I think the most interesting thing we're going to see at the start of this race is the strategy. Who's going to strategize what and who's going to be taking their drinks early on.
Just imagine, Devin, there may be a point in this race where it's not so much the racing line, but if you can walk a straight line.
And driving a straight line in these cars is hard enough, once again, sober on its own. And that
I just
might be
can't
another
wait
thing
till,
on this long straightaway, drafting while not sober. That'll be interesting.
I feel like that's a great chance to run over the person running in front of you.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of great chances for a lot of great things that I don't know if any iRacing broadcast has ever seen before as they come down the long straightaway. There's no need to have a chicane. There's no reason to have a boot, nothing here. It's a long, fast straightaway as we come into this corner. This is a first on GSRC, maybe a first for iRacing broadcasting. Who knows? But we're going to have a little bit of fun here with the Porsche Owners Club here on Friday night. Nielsen Lawrence and Justin Krickenberg bring the field ahead as this Fireball 500 will be ready to go here momentarily.
Devin, I don't think I have ever been more excited to commentate on a race than I am right now.
I'm just excited for the unpredictability. I don't know what's going to happen with these machines. You know, that's probably the biggest thing. I don't know what's going to happen here once we get 30 minutes in, and that's not a lot of the race. As we come off the final corner, Lawrence, Krickenberg. It's the Fireball 500 for the Porsche Owners Club. 4 drinks, 1 hour. Who's going to take the win? We are green at Watkins Glen.
So who are we going to say peel off? Oh, and we're already having some issues.
That's not what we were anticipating when we said peel off, but the Coors Light car is already off to the side, and Peter Lanier is also as well. Is this a good opportunity here to take your drink? And more cars are sideways here on the exit of the corner, too. This is chaos.
If you're already stopped off the track, you might as well take advantage of it.
Yeah, we see a number of cars get back on the track, though, here, but already this group is going to really scatter out now.
Yeah, that many cars coming together that early in the event, we're definitely going to see the field string out. And again, that's going to throw in the possibility of the strategy play. Maybe it's a chance for some of these guys running up front with a bit of a gap to peel over a little bit early and take their drinks.
Robert Stout in the Coors Light machine has heavy damage. He's still trying to find a way to get back up to speed. Right now he is dead last at the back of the field after getting a little bit of help there going into turn number 1, but a number of drivers, including Nico Silva, Joe Weirenholt, Nelson, Peter Ladier, all of them having major issues here going right into turn number 1 of a very lengthy race. So let's go back here. Let's see exactly what happened as we have more drivers with issues here going into that first corner. Yeah, that was not a replay. That's just guys overshooting the corner here, and with trying to conserve brakes will be a big deal too. We'll take a look here. First, Robert Stout. First gets punted, and Mike got some help from Eric Oviatt, and then directly after that, it looks like Michael Bolton and a bunch of them got stacked up at the exit of the corner. So watch right in the middle of that Coors Light machine here. Is already 3 wide coming to the line, and on his inside is Oviatt. Get some help, and yeah, a couple of guys missed the corner completely, and you can see on the left side of your screen, everyone moving around. Looks like Bolton got some help getting turned around there before the exit of the corner. Mass calamity. It almost looks like one of our regular races that we had back at Daytona. A lot of calamity there, except it was all packed into one corner. But Nielsen Lawrence has already went out to a 5-second lead, and more issues here. The 26 car turned around, Hollander and a bunch of others with a major issue.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be hard to hold on to your drink if you're upside down, Devin.
Way on the outside here is the number 26 machine. A little bit of runoff there, trying to battle real hard here with Kreichenberger. They get together, and then these two cars just have absolutely nowhere to go, and that's worse than a blowover, I think.
Very interesting that the Wonder Bread car and the Perrier car are both involved in the same accident.
Oh boy, there's so many strange things going on here in this race right now. Nielsen Lawrence still in the lead, Fulton in second, Oviatt third right here, but a 1 hour race, still plenty of action still to come. And I don't believe we have had many drivers opt for their first drink yet. We can't really keep track of it, but multiple drivers already a lap down.
Devin, if I finish my first drink before these guys, I'm going to feel like I might have a problem.
Well, I think we'll find out pretty soon. Now looking at Brad Kelter in 6th, trying to hold off Michael Bolton. And another driver, did he get into the pits? Not quite. Kepler there had a little bit of an issue there. I don't know if he's planning to go on pit road, but this might be a non-alcoholic stop and go here. You only need to stop and go 3 times as opposed to having the 4 12-ounce beverages. Another, yeah, that might be, I don't think that's a spinner. That might be a drinker there. Michael Roba might be chugging his first 12-ounce.
Well, he's got the appropriate paint scheme. Gotta love that mid-90s Rusty Wallace. And it looks like Nielsen Lawrence may be pulling over for his drink as well over in the inner loop.
That car does not look very pulled over. That car looks very in the way right now.
He's in the bus
okay,
stop,
so they're
Devin.
in the inner loop. Excuse me. There we go. So that sounds a little bit better. But BJ Fulton follows up behind him. So these are your 2 leaders taking their first pit stop. And wow, BJ Fulton rips by. Holy cow, that was quick.
Well, he does have that NASA Challenger paint scheme. So maybe he... Well, you know what? That pun was going to a very dark place, Devin. So we're going to reel that one back in real quick. He took that drink to infinity and beyond.
On that note, Benjamin Nelson also has taken his first pit stop of the day. So a number of drivers here, only about 5 minutes into this race, or excuse me, are we 15 minutes into this race already? Boy, this is flying by already, and it might fly by a little bit more for some of these drivers. If we take a look at Savak Bagarian, boy, I sound drunk already. I'm not even drinking with these guys, but he is your new leader right now in the red, white, and blue number 10.
And he's got a pretty decent lead right now, Devin.
Actually, looks like that's Oviatt directly behind him in that red number 23 in lap traffic already coming up. Brad Kettler here is the first lap car as you look at him in number 5 in front of your 2 leaders. And that brings up another scenario, lap traffic with everyone on different pit strategies here. How will lap traffic play a factor into a course that's a little bit shorter than some of the other configurations here at Watkins Glen?
Yeah, that's a really good point, with it only being the classic layout with just 7 turns. Lap traffic could definitely play a huge role, especially with people on different strategies, like you mentioned. And not to mention different sobriety levels, that could play a huge factor in this race as well.
So I think right now that Wonder Bread car might be leading in pit stops. Matt Hollander put into the chat that he already has 2 down, and right now he's sitting in the 10th position. So if he does have 2 down right now, that is a really good spot to be in as another car pulls on off to the side to get their pit stop in as well.
Now, theoretically, Devin, could somebody park their car and just chug all 4 back-to-back? Would that be allowed by the letter of the rule?
I don't believe so. I think it has to be 4 individual times, although I would have to double check that. I didn't see that in the rule book, so there is potential for that. But I mean, if you're gonna do that, I would try to do it right before the checkered flag, right?
Is that like
Coming
Michael
off the final corner,
Schumacher?
I'm gonna stop right there.
Like Schumacher serving his penalty, driving through the pits on the last lap.
Exactly, exactly. You want to wait for that last chance, and that way you know whatever you were gonna get, you're gonna get. There's no chance of intermediate sobriety kicking in there. As you see those cars off to the side, yeah, these machines are extremely beat up, but it's not because the demo derby has concluded. It is because they are drinking a 12-ounce cold one. 4 of them must be completed, or 3 stop and goes in the pits is what these drivers have to do in order to officially conclude the race.
I gotta say, I love the realism on the modeling of these cars. It looks like the 10 car actually has paint chipping off of the front bumper after it's been beaten up a little bit.
Absolutely.
I mean, that attention to detail is part of what's made everybody so excited about this 1987 NASCAR car.
Exactly, and I know a lot of guys who are running the Parker Kligerman Landing Castle Firecracker 400 aren't exactly loving the damage model when they tap the side of the wall over there, but I mean, it's just gorgeous what iRacing has done to these machines to really make it look like it's a beat-up looking 1987 car, right?
Yeah, and you mentioned the damage model on these things, and I mean, really, it's realistic to the time. These cars were not as durable, so to speak, as the cars we have now in this day and age.
We see Michael Robin, who completes another pit stop. I do wish we had a way to track everyone's pit stops right now, but what we can track is the gaps between drivers, and right now there are 8 cars on the lead lap. So what I'm thinking right now is more than likely the guys who are still on the lead lap might be starting to get behind some of these other drivers besides maybe Hollander and Kettler, as now we have another driver coming to a very quick stop there. Or is he trying to start? I can't even tell at this point. Or you know what? Maybe he's just trying to drive. I don't know how many Weiderholt has down already, but maybe he's just trying to drive.
And if you're trying to follow this at home, this would be a great opportunity to pull up GSRC.tv on your phone, and you can try to make sense of all the crazy happenings going on during this race. It's pretty much the same timing and scoring technology we have at our disposal here behind the scenes, but for you at home to try to make sense of this wacky race that we're watching right now.
I'll kind of help you determine, okay, who's stopped, who's stopping. As we watch Eric Oviatt right now, currently in second place. Vigarian still your leader right now in the red, white, and blue number 10. Up to a 5-second lead over after Oviatt was right on his rear bumper, but now Vigarian starting to put a little bit of a gap between the two.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe Oviatt took a chance to shotgun something there in a couple seconds.
Yeah, that would be mighty impressive if I do say so myself, although we have seen a couple of guys a little speedy there in their pit stops. Some of the fastest pit stops I think I've ever seen before.
I mean, I went to college for a Tommy Boyan length of time, and I've seen some people that could put one down in 5 seconds.
And these drivers all range from in their 20s into their 60s. This is a wide range of drivers who actually run with the Porsche Owners Club. They own a Porsche and they'll either race wheel to wheel, they do time trials, a number of different things, guys who actually have gone out and been on a racetrack before. And these are real-life drivers going into the sim world and now trying their hand at drinking and driving the only safe way there is.
That's true. We definitely don't want you to drink and drive anywhere else but right here on iRacing.
Although I believe many drivers who are driving in official races would completely disagree with that statement. But if you're going to do it, might as well not do it in the real world. Just crash one of these cars. It don't cost anything. So now battles for positions are still going on right now as these guys are trying to go at it, as Hollander's trying to catch up to Kettler. And you can see two very drastically different lines here between a few different drivers. And you gotta wonder how much the pit stops are going into how drivers are running right now when it comes to their lines.
And for some of these drivers, as they get further into this race, it will be literal lines, because of the double vision.
Precisely. It'll be hard to kind of see where's the grip strip on the bottom, or is that grass?
And as our director Joe Peak made note of, with this car, it is actually pretty hard to tell whether it's the alcohol or the car itself that's making these things so difficult to handle.
Yeah, these cars are just hard to point forward on their own. And right now, Fagarian's just trying to keep his car pointed as he is watching this battle for 7th place right behind these drivers. And that goes into another form of difficulties that racing like this brings. How aggressive do you want to be? Because you're not exactly sure how many cold ones the guys in front of you have put down.
Not to mention how fragile these cars can be. I mean, they definitely do allow for some beating and banging, but you definitely don't have as much as you do in some of the other vehicles we have on the iRacing service.
Now a battle for 5th here. Robert Stout, Nielsen Lawrence, the Coors Light, and the Busch Machine going at it. Chevy and Ford. Nielsen Lawrence in the 302 on the inside makes the pass. BJ Fulton wanted to cross him back over. It didn't work, so he's going to pull on over, and he's going to have himself a quick old pit stop. Or Stout, excuse me, going on over there. Octavio Tequila, Coors Light, which one is it?
I really don't know if that's where I'd want to stop to take my pit stop. That is
technically
a
you're supposed
very
to pull off the
precarious
track.
spot.
That's not completely off the track as we watch along. Yeah, drivers, I don't think they're necessarily going to use that, although if you're slow enough, that's kind of the preferred line to get into that next corner.
So what type of beer do you think is Robert Stout's preference? Think he's a Pilsner guy?
Could be. Oh!
Just like
And
we
that's
kind
where
of
you
were
gotta
worried
wonder,
about.
Yeah, where's the sobriety level on someone pulling out in front of traffic? And now the 11 just going to pour it straight into the wall. Trying to do a loop in these things, once again, hard enough when you're sober. Momeyer has himself a difficulty, and you know what? Let's just take the edge off, guys. Let's just have a quick drink while I'm stuck here.
You know, things were getting a little bit stressful, a little bit heated.
Just calm it back down, man.
Calm down. Gather your composure. Get back out there.
Nielsen Lawrence once again taking himself a pit stop. Last time we saw him get blown by in this little boot here, and so that one might have been a little bit hurtful on the drinking ego there, but back out onto the track he goes. Fagarian's still in the lead. I don't know how many pit stops that 10 car has had.
Well, see, the front end of the car tells one story, but the time charts tell another.
Exactly. Right now, a 6-second lead over Eric Oviatt, then a considerable gap. It's 13 seconds. Oh, Fagarian almost turns it around, and behind him, the 6 car goes for a ride as Roban will probably get a pit stop now as he is stuck. Man, look at how many lanes are being used right now, and that's one way to stop the car. I don't know if Fagarian's stopping for a pit stop. Was he trying to go in a non-alcoholic way and go for the stop and go? I don't know what just happened there on the front straightaway, but he is stopped now. I think he actually used those pit stop barriers to stop himself and get a drink.
If he did, I don't know if that's the way I'd want to stop the car myself. He went headlong into those water barrels at the end of the pit entrance wall.
Yeah, I legitimately think that he wanted to stop the car, and he just kind of used the right side of his car to do that.
Yeah, maybe he was trying to use the where the track widens out for the pit entrance, maybe to pull over, and it's possible he might have locked up the brakes.
I have announced college, high school, and semi-pro football, basketball, baseball, plenty of iRaces, but this right now is by far the most entertained I've ever been on a microphone. Eric Oviatt in the red number 23, now your leader with a 6.5 second advantage over Michael Bolton. BJ Fulton in third right now. Fagarian only lost about 30 seconds after hitting the inside of that pit barrier. We'll have to see how much damage plays into a roll here, and it would be very interesting to see if anyone actually has an issue when it comes to knocking their steering out of alignment.
And, you know, I see the 11 and John Momeyer pulled over to the inside of the track. He's now lost several laps. So either he's sipping or, and of course, as we say it, he pulling away, so maybe he's just a sipper.
Yeah, we were watching it, so he got turned around. It's been about a couple laps now as Fagarian makes another way around him, and he's actually going to take this car into pit road.
Yeah, it looks like the 23 Oviat, who was one of our leaders, is in his pit stall.
And he is getting tires, and the rule is actually that you cannot get service on your car for your stop and go here, so that might be a lapse in judgment there. We'll have to see if race control will put down some sort of penalty there. You're not supposed to get any sort of changes to your car, I believe, when it comes to pit road stops.
So is he a non-drinker, or did he just need tires?
Yeah, that's a good question. That is a good question, although since it is an hour race, 40 laps, tires might actually make a difference.
And not to mention, we've seen these guys flat, well, maybe not flat spotting, but they've definitely been locking up the brakes, which could lead to flat spots on the tires, which could have necessitated the stop.
So with that pit stop, the cycle into the lead is Chick Hicks, Michael Bolton in that blue Dynaco machine. Bringing a kids' movie paint scheme to a drinking race, I do find amusing.
So, Devin, what is your favorite Michael Bolton song?
Oh my gosh. That'd be a tough one. I don't know. I want to know what he's singing in there. You got to think that some of these guys are going to have a little bit of fun in these cars, right? As we see Fagarian with another pit stop here on the beach.
Probably not a bad idea. See some scenery. Enjoy a beverage.
How many of you guys haven't enjoyed a beverage by the beach, right? Just sitting in the sand.
We are in the Finger Lakes region of New York.
So with all this chaos and calamity, only 5 cars remaining on the lead lap right now. I do want to let everyone know we are 27 minutes into a 1-hour race right now. So we are not even halfway, and some drivers have went on their 3rd pit stop.
At that rate, they might be sober by the time the race is done.
So taking a look at Robon here, he is currently in 6th place, trying to catch up to Alan Stad, who right now is a fair interval in front of him. But still, Bolton leads Fulton and Fagarian. Fagarian has taken 2 pit stops and has kept himself in the top 3 so far, Chris.
Yeah, that's some impressive ability to drink for Fagarian, as he is able to maintain a podium position after a couple stops to lubricate the driver.
So we did start 18. Justin Quickenberger right now is the only driver out of the race. As we continue to watch Fagarian try to make up his ground. He is now 50 seconds behind BJ Fulton, a minute behind Michael Bolton right now. So these cars continue to separate out here, and at the moment we do want to remind you this is the Porsche Owners Club having a one-off race, a special Fireball 500 race. They do race every other Monday. That will include next Monday when they come back to Watkins Glen and drive the boot layout. They will be in their Porsches for that race, though, in a GT3 and GT4 class, as we just watch. I believe that was the 11 car. That was Momeyer again. That time just barreled into the tires. I don't even know if he got the brakes, and that might try to be a some sort of fix there in the pits, because that was a monumental catastrophe.
Yeah, this will be a fun one to ride along with, because he hit the wall a ton. It's almost like he didn't even bother even looking for the brake pedal.
I'm not sure. That was a close one. Wow, that car went so in there, he almost went through the wall, much less the tire barrier. A big hit there from Omeyer, who right now is trying to come back from 7 laps down.
Yeah, he successfully yoted that car for sure into that tire barrier, and maybe having to recover down there in his pit stall.
The 302, Nielsen Lawrence now catching up to Matt Hollander. This is the closest battle on the track, and right now Lawrence in that Busch machine trying to catch the 26 Wonderbread car of Matthew Hollander. Right now pretty close, and we'll see. Both these drivers do have a number of pit stops in them.
So Michael Bolton seems to know when it's love, as he has about a minute advantage over Fagarian right now, Devin. And that's got a battle on the screen right now with the 302 of Lawrence trying to get around the Ricky Bobby tribute. He is going to complete the pass as we head through the S's.
Nothing says a drunk NASCAR driver like Ricky Bobby. All they're trying to use that to his advantage and try to find this win. But right now, after that pass on the outside, Lawrence either has 3 or maybe all 4 in him already, but still, we are coming down to the 31-minute mark in this race. We are just past halfway of this 1-hour race. So we'll see exactly how these drivers continue to race. As Fagarian, this is either pit stop number 3 or 4 for the 10 car.
Yeah, he may at this point have all his drinks in him and is still running. He just now goes a lap down, so still hasn't lost a ton of positions from his brakes. And if he's got all 4 in, he's got plenty of time to recover.
Brad Kettler and Bryce Cooler are also currently stopped together on the side of the track, giving themselves another pit stop as Kettler will now move on ahead.
You know, our director Joe Peak just brought up a good point off air that they don't necessarily have to finish the drinks, so they could pull a Homer Simpson when he was trying not to drink and drive and maybe do a little bit of a stop and go, so to speak, to get those drinks down.
Yeah, there's a number of differing strategies that you can try to implement here because of how long this race is. So we'll see if any leaders happen to be taking pit stops really late in this race as the car spins out behind Stad here in this battle that we have for 6 as Robert Stout continues to try to catch up there, but it looks like that was might have been Nico Silva there with a little bit of issues.
I think that was Widerholt in the 4-wheel drift there.
So Widerholt, he's 4 laps down right now, so plenty issues for him so far tonight, but still that Coors Light machine trying to catch up to that fresh water in front of him.
Now, I do want to make note of the fact that I was able to reference Homer Simpson in a discussion about race strategy, and this may be the greatest moment in my entire time in the sport of racing.
And I'm just glad that you didn't take the easy way out and go with the donut or something. So I am proud of you for that, because that's the easy way out for a Homer Simpson reference in racing.
Well, Devin, I've wasted far too many hours of my life on The Simpsons to give it up that easy.
Glad to hear, very glad to hear. And right now, these guys in a fierce battle here as they continue to swerve. And once again, is that the blood alcohol level working, or is that just how wild these machines are as Stout continues to try to put on a little bit of pressure on Alan Stad?
The answer to that question, Devin, is yes.
Correct. That is the correct answer, yes. 3 cars on the lead lap right now. This is the battle for a top 5 position, and it looks like Kelter will go out for another drink for his own, another pit stop there. He's the only one in a pit stop currently as they drive by him.
And how about the mind games here, Devin? We talked about the potential for bladder issues. He's riding around staring at the Perrier water logo right now.
The only thing that can make things worse is if Stad starts to make waterfall noises over the chat, but that may very well get him disqualified from this race. Now swerving back down the straightaway, they're trying to cross each other over here as they head into the corner. Some fierce battling here, laying the race and tags the quarter panel, and around goes the Coors Light machine.
Well, that is not what Robert Stout wanted to see, but looks like he's going to take advantage of the moment and hit another pit stop.
Might as well, right? Might as well. So drivers continue to decide to make pit stops. Right now you see the Chick Hicks machine coming on in as Michael Bolton here gets himself a fast repair. He takes his pass through, or his stop and go, I should say here. So either a non-drinking stop, or this might just be trying to get a fast repair and trying to get some tires on this machine as we still have 25 minutes to go here.
Now, when the car is pulled over for the pit stop, I believe they can also drink at the same time, Devin.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. That was not in the rule book because they didn't. I don't know if the rules anticipated people pitting to actually get tires. So that might be another element there as you wait for service, might as well service yourself.
So are we still doing phrasing?
Why not?
Just check.
We're just rolling along here. It's a good old time here.
And there's the Hooters car we talked about earlier, that beautiful orange and white Thunderbird leading him down the straightaway, Devin.
So this is Nico Silva. I was confused a little bit there because the 7 car is listed as the 4 car, but that is Silva there in the Alan Kwiecki machine. Directly behind him, Nielsen Lawrence in that Busch Light machine trying to make chase here to the Hooters machine, who has not chased with a Bud Light in their hand, a pair of wings from Hooters.
Don't know.
Oh,
if
and
I've
also
ever
Eric
done
Oviatt
that.
is nearby.
Looks like we do have somebody pulling away from a pit stop there on the outer edge of the track.
Back up front we go. Matt Hollander has grabbed the lead away. BJ Fulton right now behind him in that NASA machine. We've talked plenty of jokes about both of these drivers so far as this race continues on here. It's interesting to see so much tight battling across this track with all the differing strategies.
And these guys are doing a great job of racing each other, too. We have had a couple incidences, but nonetheless, these guys have, for the most part, really done a great job racing each other as BJ Fulton launches himself into the lead as they head into turn number 1.
Yeah, I'm really not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing. The most chaos we had was the first corner when everyone was 100% sober. I'm not sure.
You know, get a drink or two in, relax a little bit. I can see it.
Might have been a little tense going into turn 1 there. This is a very exciting race. Now we look back at position number 3 as Bolton, after his legitimate pit stop, is now looking to pass Fagarian on the inside here in turn number 1.
And he is keeping very close to Fagarian, so these guys are not letting whatever they may have imbibed slow them down as far as the racing goes at all. Bolton is keeping right with him.
Following Bolton's pit stop, the amount of lead lap drivers went from 3 to now 10 drivers on the lead lap here. This battle is for the final spot on the podium, but with so much racing to go, again, we come back to how aggressive do you want to be depending on how sober some of these drivers are.
Very solid point. As Bolton sees an opening, he'll pull alongside.
So Bolton takes over the 3rd position from Savak Fagarian. And coming down here into turn number 4, Bolton back on top of the podium, but still sitting about 18 seconds behind Matt Hollander, who's currently in 2nd. BJ Fulton has a commanding lead now at 12.5 seconds, and you gotta wonder how many drivers have completed their pit cycle. Well, speaking of your pit cycle, looking for tires here is Matt Hollander, pitting from 2nd place, and he's gonna lose a few positions here as Fagarian and Bolton will move on by.
Yeah, we've added a lot of drivers to that lead lap right now, so Fulton is going to probably fall down the order quite a bit here, I would think, but then again, we don't know where everybody's sitting at as far as pit stops go, Devin, so there's still a long way to go.
Still a lot of laps, and of course, as that alcohol sits in the body, it can do things to the eyes, it can do things to the head, which is why you don't drink and drive, guys, but that can make a huge difference on performance once we get to the conclusion of this 1-hour race.
A very solid point. You know, and hopefully none of these guys actually have first-hand experience driving under the influence, so hopefully this is all new for everybody. And that's another factor these guys are going to have to lean into as they try to figure out what these cars are going to do as their perception of the things around them change.
So Lawrence in the 302 right now does have the final spot in the top 5 as Silva, I don't know if he's going for a pit stop or just completely missed the corner there in the Alan Kwiecki car. Now just missed the corner there, and now we'll have to put Chase back on. A lot of drivers having issues with these brakes, and I haven't ran these cars enough to know if the brakes, like in real life, actually die out on these cars as the race goes on.
I mean, the brakes on these cars are barely there when they're running at 100%, so I can only imagine what they're dealing with at this point in the race.
Wow, so much gas in there. Just, he got all the way up to the wall. That is hard to do there. So yeah, I gotta wonder what the brakes are like on these machines. And as we mentioned, most of these guys are driving Porsches. Is now trouble there in front of Silva, as Silva now goes wide too. And we just see a plethora of machines now having a little bit of issues here around the track.
Well, I think we had a feeling as we got later into this event, this would definitely become an issue. And it's unfortunately coming true, or fortunately, depending on how much you're enjoying this race.
Well, I tell you what, from the broadcast booth here, it does look pretty dang good as Momeyer once again gets into the fence, and that was directly in front of, I keep on messing this up because the number on the screen is not the same as the Chick Hicks number that's on the car, but nonetheless, Michael Bolton, your second place runner, almost gets a little bit of calamity there as Momeyer might have himself another drink there, but Bolton still running P2, 27 seconds behind BJ Fulton, and he might be done with his own pit strategy as well.
Yeah, we have seen Bolton take a few breaks, so he may be good to go, and he's also hit a pit stop recently as well, so fresh rubber on that 86 machine could make things a pretty straight shot there to the end for him.
Yes, and we do want to mention a real pit stop as opposed to the joking of pit stops when they pull over and have themselves a concoction. But yeah, a number of drivers have had real pit stops. I don't know, I think they'll be fine on fuel, but it's more so just these tires and how much they are really pushing these cars throughout these 5 corners here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure off of my own recollection when NASCAR went away from the bias ply tires. So they could be running a significantly older tire than what many of these drivers are used to, which could also be playing a bit of a role as Nielsen Lawrence is over there in the bus stop having himself a drink.
Got that Busch car pulled on over, having himself another drink there in that Busch ice machine. But yeah, that is a great point actually, because I do believe 87 was around the time of the tire war. And so in NASCAR that is, so that is actually a good point. I do wonder what kind of tire model iRacing did put on these cars. That's actually a point that I just never really thought of when it came to all the types of gadgets and gazmos that they put into these 1987 cars. That's just another point there, as Oviatt is now looking to take 5th away from Nico Silva. And
thanks to our friends at Google, they did not change to a radial tire until 1989. So these cars, being period accurate to 1987, would still be running on bias ply tires, which can be a little bit unusual for those who may be used to racing more modern stock cars.
And iRacing scanned, they legitimately scanned 2 1987 cars, including, whoa, more issues for Momeyer here. Boy, or no, that's not Momeyer. That is the 14 Coors Light machine there. Having a couple of issues as Robert Stout tried to keep that machine straight and is having a little bit of trouble doing that down the front straightaway here.
I wouldn't be too surprised based on what we've seen that maybe Mr. Stout may have been pre-gaming a little bit before this race began.
Are you suggesting warming up before you get into your car? That seems pretty natural in that phrasing.
Yes, when you put it like that, it sounds completely natural.
Oviatt way off the course and deep into the beach. And he's not going to stop this car for a pit stop. It looks like he's going to try to get back on here. He was right behind Nico Silva for 5th and now finds himself way back behind.
Yeah, I got to say that was a tremendous save, though. He went flying off the track and was able to keep it pointed in the right direction. As we take a ride along with Mr. Oviatt here, it's, yeah, it looked like the car didn't even want to turn. He keeps it in, does a great job steering into it, and then just keeps his foot down because these cars can get bogged down in those sand pits pretty bad. So keeps his foot down, makes it back to the asphalt, and it looks like he's going to be able to continue on.
Oviatt on pit road, getting a tire change right now. A number of drivers, actually. I do believe I might just see Stout on pit road. That might be Momeyer. Those cars are just 2 alike, but still, the entire field chasing the NASA rocket ship that is BJ Fulton right now, out to a healthy 25-second lead over Michael Bolton.
Yeah, at this point, BJ Fulton could just start orbiting the track here and not have to worry about losing any positions. He has just got a tremendous lead, but how many more stops does he have to make?
Bolton, an astrophysicist, just 33 years old, working for NASA. So not many drivers would put their place of work as a sponsor on one of their iRacing cars, but I'm sure that he's plenty proud to have NASA up on that 277 right now. He only started sim racing back in May, but right now leading what might just be the most challenging race I've ever seen on iRacing.
And which would be fitting too, because he does have the Challenger memorialized on the hood of his car.
Really a gorgeous machine. It'd be kind of cool to see that moved on over to one of the Porsches, whether it be the 911, whatever, GT4, GT3, whatever category, or heck, both of them for that matter, but still leading the way here. We still have 15 more minutes. Eric Oviatt has just completed his service, legitimate service, I should say, off of pit road, and so after battling for the 5th position, he will come on out 10th place now, 2 laps down.
I am pretty surprised, Evan, how many people we are seeing take legitimate pit stops in this race. I wouldn't have been too surprised if we didn't see anybody stop, given the nature of the race. But a lot of these guys are pitting for tires, and it's shown results. As you saw, Bolton made great use of the tire change earlier on.
I completely agree. As we now watch Robert Stout in his pit in the Coors Light machine, he has a hefty amount of damage on that car. All fixed up, and that Ford gets back out on the track. I do want to go back to Oviatt, though, because even more surprising than all the pit stops, I think someone having a Coke machine here and it not being a Jack and Coke machine. So a little bit surprised on that end of things, but nonetheless, the Coca-Cola number 23 still inside the top 10.
Yeah, he really missed the opportunity to have a really cool split paint scheme.
Yeah, kind of like they did the orange Coke as he rolls around Michael Robon there, but yeah, that would have been an interesting paint scheme there. But nonetheless, a lot of drivers having a lot of fun here, whether it be paint schemes or probably just in their gaming chair. To be honest, right now, probably having quite a good time as well, as you see those brake rotors on the front end of that car absolutely lit up. And we mentioned earlier, I do really wonder if those brakes die out like they did back in 1987. Is the brake model similar to how it was way back when?
Yeah, this is the first real experience we've gotten to have with these cars on a road course, and it's a whole different set of wear and tear that these cars go through when they're turning left and right versus what we see on a traditional oval track, which is what these cars were kind of known for. But back in 1987, we were taking these cars to road courses, so it's interesting to see how this will shake out.
Into turn 1, an issue quickly for Robert Stout, who is a lap down trying to keep up with Fagarian, who's currently your 3rd place driver. Allenstad not too far behind him in that battle for 3rd and 4th, a couple of seconds back. But now, after some more cycling through, we are back down to only 4 cars on the lead lap. And still, I really did wish that we had a way to count who has had how many pit stops, because I think whoever is deciding to go late, that might make a huge difference in how this race is going to play out. But also, no one else on this track necessarily knows what the other drivers are doing strategy-wise. So you don't necessarily know exactly where you are when it comes to pit stop cycling through towards the end of the race.
That's a really solid point, Devin. None of these drivers really know what everyone else has done, as it looks like the 86 of Michael Bolton coming into his pit stall.
Again, in that Dynaco machine coming down pit road, it looks like going to get serviced. We saw him get serviced not too long earlier, so this is an interesting move here. Or was he trying to go down to a stop and go and just forgot to turn the tire change off? Also, real quick, gotta love the pit road guys. Very little do you ever see pit road guys come out in a suit and tie to service cars.
That's really dedication to your craft. And, they do say dress for the job you want, not the job you have.
And as we talk about them, we now see 2nd place Fagarian move. I mean, technically that is a pass for position right there, as Fagarian will now move into the 2nd spot as long as he gets out, before it looks like Bolton must be having himself a 2nd pit stop there.
Maybe he just hadn't finished his drink yet.
So for those of you guys just joining us, this is a 1-hour race here for the Porsche Owners Club in these 1987 NASCAR machines at the classic Watkins Glen course. But the one caveat is that you have to complete 4 12-ounce alcoholic beverages or 3 stop and goes between the green and checkered flags here in order to officially conclude your race.
Now with Bolton stopping there, as well as a Fajarian, BJ Fulton now has a full lap lead on the field, but how many stops does he have left to make? Or has he just played the strategy so perfectly that he's pretty much given himself an insurmountable lead?
We'll have to see if that 277 NAS machine will have to make his way back down to earth for a pit stop, and we'll see how everything cycles through. But Matt Hollander has made his way back into the second position as we see BJ Fulton coming on down to pit road. Following him will also be Nico Silva, who's currently in third.
I'll be very interested to see what exactly it is Fulton is doing in his pit stall here.
So he's not in his pit stall, so I don't know if he's doing this. It's obviously not stop and go because he hasn't went yet, but it's kind of difficult to go and have a drink inside the pits because you have to follow pit road speed all the way through.
Now, it does have to be a stop and go, but maybe it doesn't necessarily need to be a stop and go in your pit stall.
Well, now
maybe
he's going into his pit stall now, so that was very curious.
So maybe that was the stop and go. This is the service. Possibly.
So we'll see how that cycles through because now Matt Hollander, who is in second, I think he's going to have enough time here to overtake for the lead as long as he doesn't spin that car out. Wow, that was a good save through the grass.
Yeah, that was definitely a pucker moment for Matthew Hollander there in the Ricky Bobby tribute machine. Had both of those rear tires off the track, and there's not a lot of grip out there in the grass.
I would say 0 to none there potentially when you get into that grass there as we continue to watch. What we got? Fagarian is here alongside Michael Bolton, and I was thinking that Oviatt might have been a part of this battle, but Oviatt is a lap down, so right now this is just Fagarian trying to get back onto the podium here, battling against Bolton in that blue 86. Or excuse me, this is now for second actually because we still have the NASA machine on pit road of BJ Fulton.
Now, another aspect of these cars that I really want to touch on here for just a second as you look at them go through the S's, look at the body roll that these cars have. I mean, they are just physically wrestling these cars around this track.
These cars legitimately, it's kind of like when you're surfing or something, how your body kind of moves with the direction you're going. These cars really tip over and they kind of lean. It almost feels like a dirt UMP modified or a dirt late model, the way that they lean over. Fagarian has an issue. Enter the corner too hot and into the grass, and around he goes.
Yeah, he just missed the apex there, dipped his right side tires off the track, and looks like that may have been enough to upset the car.
We'll ride along with him here, trying to put on chase here to Michael Bolton. Haven't really seen much of a draft coming down the straightaway like I thought they potentially would. Trying to get around a lap car here, trying to get a lot of momentum. Oh, he's already sideways on entry.
Yeah, it looks like that may have been a lost cause before he even got to the corner.
So with all of that cycling through, Matt Hollander is your leader, but only by about 4.3 seconds over Michael Bolton right now. And Fagarian, who was riding very well in that third spot, is now all the way back, 13 seconds behind. Still in a podium spot, but just really far behind now when there's potential of competing for that win a little bit earlier. And now we look back at the distance. He is on the lead lap still. In fourth place is Fulton. Silva is on the lead lap behind him too in that 7 car, but spun off that final corner.
Yeah, Fulton had a moment there just a few turns prior as well. So as this race is going on, we're seeing these guys struggle even more as we get closer to the finish.
And so Silva was in 5th. With all the pit strategy going on right now, I'm extremely surprised that he has already bounced back to 7th. There are a lot of cars within close proximity now, 8 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, that advantage that BJ Fulton had was really erased with that pit stop, and it's kind of opened things up a little bit. I mean, we only have 2 drivers that are within striking distance. You see them on the screen here, the 26 of Hollander and the 86 of Bolton. That is your battle,
the battle
for the lead.
Do not pay attention to the numbers on the left side of your screen. This is the 86 and the 26 here battling it out as it looked like Hollander might have missed the corner. He had a lot of gas And now your new leader, Michael Bolton, takes the Kachika Chick Hicks number 86 machine to the front.
Is this where you're supposed to say Kachow, or is that the other one?
No. Kachika. Kachow is lightning. This is very obviously Chick Hicks.
Yeah, I mean, my son's a big fan of Lightning McQueen, so everything's Kachow over here. I don't even know the difference anymore.
I much prefer the Kachow. 7-time to 1-time. For those of you guys who know the movies, you might actually know that. But anyway, no, BJ Fulton, now your leader over Matt Hollander. Fagarian is 8 seconds still behind Bolton, as now the lead continues to grow for that blue number 86 as we come down to the final 7 minutes of this race.
Yeah, things are briefly calm on the track. I think this is the first point in time since this race began, as your leader now coming up on lap traffic.
And this is where things might get a little dicey here, depending on the sobriety of the drivers in front of you and how well they're able to wheel this car right now. Although we saw Bolton go on a pit road multiple times, getting that fresh rubber, that might be a huge part of how he's able to run away from Hollander. Now a 4-second advantage. Oh, and a big issue for Hollander trying to come up to that long straightaway, got way hard into that left side wall, and he has another major issue. That car cannot stay straight.
Is that a car issue or a driver issue, Devin?
Yes. So Hollander, I am curious, he hit that outside wall extremely hard on the right side. I was curious if the steering was out of alignment. It does look okay though. He's able to keep it straight now through here, and so you'll watch him kind of come through the S's here and watch this car just slide, push, and into the wall.
Yeah, the car just dog walked up the track and got into the Armco, and looked like it took quite a while for him to recover. And we don't know for sure whether he's got any lasting issues from that, but it looks like at the moment he's able to keep it pointed straight.
And don't look now behind you. Fagarian now starting to make chase in that red, white, and blue number 10 car, catching up to Hollander and almost already on the rear bumper as we come up to the S's.
I think Fagarian's the driver in this race that's really had 9 lives, so to speak. We've seen him all over the place. The car is all kinds of beat up, but here he is still rising back up through the running order, and now is not only in a podium position, but could very well be runner-up before we get too far into this lap.
And this race very well could end here on laps. We are going to be coming to 3 to go here soon. There's still 4 minutes left on the clock, and Hollander misses the corner, keeps the car straight for the most part. What could have been disastrous turns into the loss of second position, but still able to get back on the track, and he still has about 16 seconds between him and 4th place BJ Fulton.
You may have to try that trick where you close one eye and then all of a sudden things come into a little bit better focus.
Yeah, missed the corner quite a bit there, but once again, whether that was a driver or a car issue there, who knows with how these brakes have been reacting with these machines.
Yeah, I mean, it is really hard to know where to turn when there's 2 turns in front of you at the same time.
I won't disagree. Michael Bolton, your leader, coming down now to 3 to go, and he has definitely been in command of this race in these latter stages. Only 7 cars remain on the lead lap now, and everyone really starting to stretch apart from each other now. It's just picking through lap traffic and not getting caught up in someone else's mess.
Yeah, with these laps closing down, Devin, you got to think this race has been everything we hoped it would be so far.
Oh, absolutely. I am very thoroughly enjoying myself. I was kind of excited. I was hoping that we could see like some 4-wide action, but like not in a row or anything, but they're just swerving back and forth down the front straightaway. I saw them do it 3-wide at one point. They were kind of close. Oh, Hollander with a major issue. Almost spins out again. Bolton also went off as well. I'm trying to watch 2 screens at once as leaders just calamity all over the track as we get into the late portions of this race.
Yeah. Thankfully, Bolton has enough of a lead that it's not going to cost him. We're going to take a look back at Matthew Hollander. who had another moment here. You can see him going through the turn, and the car just getting away from him a little bit, and then he narrowly avoids going off into the grass on one side, but comes across the track and just wallops the Armco with the right side of that machine.
On that same lap, he almost spun it off of turn 5 as well. A number of phenomenal saves right now for Hollander, trying to keep this machine intact for a third-place finish. He's hit that front end so many times. I can't believe that the steering is still in alignment on that car.
Well, race fans, if you were looking for an example of it, this is why you don't drink and drive.
Luckily enough for Bolton, his mistake still gives him about a 5.5-second lead, but Fagarian has probably been the most consistent driver so far in the top 5 and trying to cut down on that deficit, but still a lot of a deficit there as Hollander now has come to a complete stop after spinning out. And it looks like Matt Hollander is officially towed to the garage. I think that there was just too much going on with that car. I don't think he got rubber, so he was really loose, and so he was running third, but now he is pitted, and his chances of a podium in the Fireball 500 come to an end.
We're just going to hope that his night doesn't end maybe making a contribution to the porcelain gods.
That car was just a handful for about 2 straight laps, and now maybe it's just time to go take the edge off and go get a drink. Bolton now trying to continue to fight through lap traffic, and you look on the left of your screen, here comes Fagarian, only a second behind BJ Fulton now. There's something wrong with that car. Fagarian to the inside. Oh, they make contact! Into the wall goes Bolton, and around he goes.
Bolton comes back across the track as Fagarian now drives away your new leader. A disastrous lap here for Bolton, and this is the final lap as well. So a perfect time to peak for the 10 car Fagarian.
Something was wrong with that 86 car. Now he's slowing down to get Bolton back up. This is a very classy series still, guys. They have a lot of respect for each other, but this is the last lap, so we'll see. They get side by side. We'll see if they try to race it here to the finish, and Bolton gets into the back of Fagarian.
Maybe a bit of a return favor there as Bolton sends Fagarian around, and he's going to come off the corner here, Devin.
Off the final corner, Chick Hicks is going to victory lane in the Fireball 500. Michael Bolton wins at Watkins Glen.
Well,
Fagarian will come home in second after that insane finish, and look who comes home in third, the NASA spaceship himself, BJ Fulton. Nielsen Lawrence brings home the Bush machine in fourth, and Nico Silva right now currently sitting in the 5th place. That's not a fight for position behind him, so a chance to bring home a top 5 for the Hooters Alan Kowicki machine.
What a tremendous last lap we had there, Devin.
So let's go ahead and follow Silva here into turn 1, where we literally just have a pile of cars just taking a break after what might just be the most excruciating, difficult race I have ever seen on the iRacing platform. And we were so glad to bring that to you live here on GSRC. So we'll take a break, as many of these drivers will be taking a break of their own of potentially a different kind here. The Fireball 500 for the Porsche Owners Club, won by Michael Bolton. We'll be right back for the entire finishing order for you. in what might be the most ridiculous race on iRacing I've ever seen in my life. Boy, what an exciting race we had to the finish. The Fireball 500 from the Porsche Owners Club ran down like this. Michael Bolton takes home the win. Savak Bagarian brings it home in second. BJ Bolton found a way to bring himself home on the podium. Nielsen Lawrence winds up in fourth. Nico Silva runs. Woo, man, I didn't even drink with them. Winds out your top five. Alan Stad in sixth. Matthew Hollander in seventh. Eric Ovia in eighth. Robert Stout comes home in ninth. And Michael Johnson rounds out your top 10. Matt Hollander comes home, I believe, in 11th. It looks like they kind of skipped over that name there in our iRacing platform. But then Michael Robin follows him. Brad Kettler behind him, followed by Bryce Kluwer, Benjamin Nielsen, Peter Latier, Joe Winderholt, John Momeyer, and Justin Krickenberg wind out your field. Well, we are going to have a number of drivers fresh off of that finish come and join us here in the booth, and we will start things off with your third place finisher, BJ Fulton, able to bring that NASA spaceship home in the third position. Well, BJ, you're the first guy that we get to talk to, so I need to know at the end of that race, what were those final couple laps like compared to the first?
They were interesting. I felt a little bit more smooth, more fluid, you know. I don't know what it was, but it felt nice. I liked it.
Only natural. Okay, so what did you learn tonight that you can take into the Porsche race? Plenty, right?
Yeah, I think. I mean, the cars drive almost the same. It's basically the same chassis, so I should be able to do pretty well in that race, I think.
So coming home in third place, you drove up from ninth. So throughout the middle of that race, what was it like kind of moving through the field with everyone on different pit strategies?
Yeah, it was all about the beer drinking strategy. I think that was really key tonight. I took a stop for tires and drank 2 beers in that one stop, which really worked to my advantage, I think.
Yeah, that fresh rubber proved to actually be pretty beneficial.
Absolutely.
Easily a first here on GSRC. I don't doubt it's not a first for iRacing in general, but obviously a very fun race here. Who do you have to thank for your performance tonight and just being able to race in this wild calamity of a session?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank Nielsen Lawrence for putting this on. It was great. So much fun to drive these things, real hoot. And then I want to thank Porsche Owners Club for letting me be a part of their whole sim racing club. It's been great. And then, of course, my wife for letting me put in so many hours and drink so many beers. It's quite a sacrifice.
Oh, I mean, it's essentially twice the work of a regular race. So we do thank you for coming out, putting on a fantastic show. BJ, congrats on that third place finish. We look forward to seeing you in a Porsche next time we're here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, thanks.
BJ Fulton brings it home in third, and now we are going to talk to your second place finisher. He is caught up with Chris.
Well, Sevik, thanks for joining us. That had to have been probably one of the more unique races you had to run in your time in iRacing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But honestly, so much fun, dude. Thanks for having me, by the way.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. A bit about that last lap. It was...
yeah, dude. Yeah, so I came up on Michael, and they were both next to each other, and I didn't have much space, and I messed up, glitched up a little bit, and ended up spinning Michael, but obviously I didn't want to take the lead like that, so I gave it back to him. But Michael Bolton's and Michael Robin's car looked exactly the same, so I thought I gave up the lead to Michael Bolton, but I gave it to Robin, and then we ended up spinning again. But yeah, I didn't want to take the place from Michael, like, you know, dishonestly. Like, I just wanted to come by it honestly, so I gave it back to him, and this is all in fun, so I was happy with second. So.
Well, definitely appreciate the sportsmanship. Now,
yeah, man.
What was your strategy as far as maybe getting in your drinks and still being able to stay competitive in this race? Because you dropped back quite a bit there towards the middle portion of the race.
Okay.
Really worked your way back up to the front.
Yeah, so what I did was every time I felt like I messed up in a corner a little bit, I would just come to a stop and chug a beer, finish a beer, you know what I mean? And then get right back on it. And then what I did was, one of the times I stopped, I messed with my black box to like figure out exactly what I needed for my pit stop when I would eventually go to get fuel and tires. So I just kind of used my time as efficiently as I possibly could and kept using like track position to my favor. So yeah, that was my strategy.
All right. Who would you like?
What's up, bud?
Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Oh, and drinking really as fast as possible too, obviously.
All right. Who would you like to thank to help make your race possible tonight?
Well, the Porsche Owners Club, of course, Matt at the Porsche Owners Club, and Neil for coming up with this idea. Neil Lawrence. Thanks, guys. It was so much fun, and everybody who joined the race. Thanks, guys.
All right, and that was your second place finisher, Sevik Fajarian, with us here, and I believe you are catching up with Michael Bolton.
Yes, sir. The winner of this race, driving the 2006 Piston Cup champion throwback car, kinda, that Dynaco number 86, BJ Fulton, brings home, Michael Bolton. Boy, I wasn't even drinking with you guys, Mike. I don't know what I'm doing up here, but no, that was just an incredible race. Michael Bolton taking home the win. Take me through that last lap.
Yeehaw! Oh man, that was great. Man, that last lap, Sev was coming up on me, and there was a slow car in front, and I heard all the guys on the chat saying, take him out, and I was like, this is not going to happen on the last lap. So I managed to recover it, spin it around, and then I ended up giving Sev a little pit maneuver at the end there, just for good measure.
So we just talked to him, and he mentioned he didn't want to win taking you out like that or anything, so he did slow down. But then he sped back up. He saw Michael Robin pass him. He thought that he was you. And then all of a sudden you came up from behind him and he was like, oh, look, there he is. And then, of course, the contact happened there. So that's his side of the story there for you. But I got to know, what was your race winning strategy there?
Oh, man, what a strategy. Well, me and all the engineers over here, we've been working on this hard. Some of the POC guys and we did a practice race last night, and that was honestly so helpful. I figured out that the tires only go about 13 laps, so I had to stretch it to 20 laps to get my first set of tires. Did 3 beers after that stop and wanted to throw up, and then I kept on going, and then I think at lap 30 my engineer was saying I only have 6 laps left of fuel, so I decided to get tires and fuel, which gave me fresh tires till the end, and then I finished my last beer after that stop as well, and it was a pretty quiet race for me. There wasn't too many big battles, but I'll take the win.
So obviously there was that massive pile up in turn 1 of lap number 1. I want to know from your perspective, what was the difference from lap number 1 to the last lap looking like from your eyes?
Man, going into turn 1, I knew it was going to be pretty eventful, and it was very colorful in all directions. But I think I just tried to get in and get into my rhythm and start just cranking down with the laps, and I was really not looking forward to that first pit stop, knowing that I had to drink. I was thinking about doing 2 beers, and then I said if I do another beer, it'll make that last stop a little easier. But going through the whole race, after lap 10, your braking markers are turning into, you just have to stop basically hundreds of feet before the corner. But yeah, I really don't know how I pulled this one off. I know it was close between the top 3 or 4 of us, but man, shake and bake, you know what I'm saying? America.
Kachika there in that blue 86. So who do you got to thank for this performance tonight, and what is the most entertaining race I think I've ever seen on iRacing?
Well, I definitely have to thank the POC. This is such a fun series to run with the guys on every other Monday, and this was a good race to kind of throw in there just to not be so serious, and everybody gets a chance to have some fun. I know some of us are drinking every race anyways, but it was fun to have some rules and to kind of have some fun with the boys. It was a good time.
Well, it was a good time to watch. Michael Bolton takes the Dynaco blue number 86.
The red car, though. This is not my car, though. I have Lightning McQueen car.
Oh, buddy, I hate to break it to you.
That's okay.
What we see here
it's
is
still
86.
It's still cars.
Still cars. So I'll say Kachow instead of Kachika instead there. But yeah, hey, you got the blue 86, so it's the 86 on there. I had to go Chick Hicks on it. So. But congrats on the win, regardless of the paint scheme. A huge win here in the Fireball 500. Thanks, Michael. And real quick, before we go, we will talk to our 4th place finisher, Nielsen Lawrence, is with Chris.
Well, Nielsen, a tremendous event that you guys put on here today, and looked like a whole lot of fun. How are you feeling after that one?
I feel great. That was a really fun event.
Now, looked like things kind of got a little bit chaotic as you were going down into the first turn. Did that possibly temper your expectations for how the event was going to go, or was it just what you expected?
No, it's about what I expected. In all honesty, I really just kind of wanted everybody to have a fun, not so serious event. We come from the POC races where it's a little bit more serious, and I had to pose this race as just a little bit of a relief. So
exactly. That was you were kind of the brains behind this idea, and when something like this comes together, you have to formulate a rule book and all that stuff for drinking policy. So what kind of was your thought process between setting the guidelines for drinks and everything like that? What was your process for coming up with the plans for this one?
Funny enough, I kind of stole the idea from Mario Kart, right? There's like a beer drinking Mario Kart, and I was like, well, this might be fun if we do some iRacing. And I got to thank Matt Hollander. He was really the brains behind getting you guys behind it, and kind of getting some more support behind it. And I talked to him about it, and I posed the question to a lot of the guys, and there was an outpouring of support. And I thought it was a really fun event. It was a really good little break from our more serious stuff in a car that handles like a Lamborghini, clearly. So
yeah, that was going to be my next question. Is you guys are used to driving the Porsches, obviously, which have a little bit more finesse, we'll say, around the track. How does one of those compare to the Monte Carlo you drove today?
Yeah, so funny enough, right? I come from the background of Mustangs, right? Which is, it's got a live rear end, and all these guys are racing Porsches and BMWs and such. And these things actually, require a little bit of skill in order to get to turn in, and there's a lot of time where you're waiting on the weight transfer of the car. So, despite most people's expectations, right? This thing actually does take a tiny bit of skill to drive, right? These guys were more than enthusiastic to hop in this thing and just go have fun. So, I thought it was a fun event, and it was a funny car to go race this thing with.
All right, and who all do you want to thank to help make this event possible for you guys?
I'd just like to thank the Porsche Owners Club. Those guys are awesome, outpouring of support. Matt Hollander for getting you guys on board and helping me out with a little bit of this stuff, or a lot of this stuff actually. Nico for also the support, and everybody who joined the event. I hope you guys had a good time commentating it and appreciated the less serious nature of this race.
Well, I can tell you we definitely had a blast calling this one, Nielsen, and we appreciate you guys having us on for it.
Yeah, have a wonderful night, guys. Thank you again. Appreciate it.
All right, that was Nielsen Lawrence, our 4th place finisher here tonight, Devin. And what do we have up next to close this one out?
Well, first and foremost, I want your thoughts. What was your thoughts on this race, and what do we do next? What is next for some sort of wild series like this?
I say we need do a lap, take a shot. Do a lap, take a shot, and then see who's still standing at the end of an hour-long race.
Well, that will be one thing, but certainly this thing was very special. A ton of fun here in the Fireball 400. Got to give a big thanks to all the sponsors who helped put this on, like Sunset Mortgage, especially tonight more than ever, Octavio Tequila, who I hope a few drivers might have had some of that with them, or at least now, and then also Century Financial Consultants. And of course, the organizer of this league and of this extremely fun race, the Porsche Owners Club. Thank you to them for what they've done putting this together. And of course, thanks to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast. They are listed right here on your screen. And an additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of her for more of her great work. And of course, a big thanks to the team today, Chris and our producer, Joe Peak. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSRC or at GSR Channel, on Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. And if you'd like to support the channel, go check out our merchandise store at GSRC store.storeenvy.com. The link is in the description below. And don't forget to head on over to our YouTube page. Hit that big red subscribe button so you never miss a moment here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Our next race in the real race for the Porsche Owners Club Sim Racing League will be next Monday, or next Monday, I guess I should say, June 29th at Watkins Glen. We will be on the boot here. They race every other Monday. We also have more upcoming races for other series listed on your screen, like the Sunday Grand Prix series you see right there. And of course, right now, we're still racing on our Facebook page and on the GSRC YouTube page. So be sure to check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Well, guys, until next time, race clean, race hard, drink responsibly, and we'll see you at the track.